Good evening. It is Wednesday, June 29th, 2016. My name is Jacob.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are the Proteus Podcast. Ideas in all shapes and forms.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Sorry we're late. We were ultra lazy yesterday and couldn't be arsed.
I don't believe in being late. I believe in being fashionably on time.
Fashionably on time. I believe in not being arsed.
Not being arsed. Can you describe for us, and for those that don't speak Southern or country, what being arsed is all about?
I'm pretty sure it's not a Southern and country thing. I believe I stole this from some British people. I just can't be arsed to do it.
And so you can't be asked to do it?
No, it's ass.
I know, but you're saying arsed, so it's asked.
Yeah, listen. The point is, you could have, but you just couldn't be arsed.
You could have, but you couldn't be arsed.
Yeah. You're probably going to have to talk to some other people on that one. I adopted it. I didn't necessarily invent it, so I don't know all the ins and outs.
Lame.
All right, listen. This is my cultural identity. I steal everything from everyone else and amalgamate it into something resembling a personality.
America?
Mm-hmm.
Or OG hipster?
I thought me, OG hipster. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's true. I am the original hipster.
Yeah,
but I am patient zero, and I apologize for my offspring.
This week is going to be great for me.
Yeah?
It's a 4-day week.
Oh, I hate
followed
you.
Followed by a 4-day weekend.
See, to me...
Followed by a 4-day week.
Listen, that must be great, because for me, today is... How can we put this? Today is a working Saturday. Tomorrow is my weekend, which starts the long week of a 9-day work week.
And I'm guessing that the 4th of July and the leading up to the 4th of July is one of those F-all weeks at the grocery store.
It's really not, because you see it coming from a long ways away, but it doesn't have, unlike the other F-all weeks, such as Thanksgiving and Christmas, there is not, shall we say, a huge supply of traditional fare for that holiday that is not something we normally carry in mass anyways. For
Hot
example,
dogs and buns?
Yeah, hot dogs, buns, burgers, steaks. That's the 4th of July weekend. Unlike Thanksgiving, where you have to have yams, which no one buys any other time of the year, mass amounts of canned pumpkin, turkeys, which are only useful to sell for 6 weeks out of the year, things like that, cranberries. That stuff only sells on those holidays. Whereas you can sell a hot dog bun any day of the week.
So, is there any actual specialty 4th of July grocery store item that you guys do stock up on?
No, there's no one specific thing that is just 4th of July, you have to have this. I mean, every year it's hot dog buns and hamburger buns, but I mean, those roll around on sale every 4 or 5 weeks anyways, so it's nothing unusual. Which is nice, because it really keeps you from getting stuck with a whole bunch of something obnoxious.
Like, easy
27
cheese.
cases of canned pumpkin.
27 cases of canned pumpkin. Is that how much leftover pumpkin y'all had after this past Thanksgiving?
Nah, maybe half that.
And what do you do with all the excess? What do y'all do with excess groceries?
Well, in the cases of canned goods, it's not really a big issue because your shelf life is in excess of 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just hold it. And we've probably sold since Christmas, probably 5 or 6 cases of pumpkin. Yeah, probably at least one a month, maybe more. And so it slowly goes away, and then whatever's left you put on the top of the pile for the next year's Thanksgiving and Christmas event. And like I said, it's perfectly fine. I've eaten plenty of last year's cans of canned pumpkin because, like I said, 2-3 year shelf life on a lot of that stuff.
Right. So what about non-canned goods, like the yams?
Well, you just get the people that order produce are much more careful than the person ordering grocery, by virtue of the fact that produce expires quickly. So you don't have excessive yams. And if we did, you would just either increase the sale point or leave them on sale for an extra week or two to get, blow out the last of the stock. And the yams, being a potato starchy thing, keep a pretty good while compared to things like, say, tomatoes. So it's not a huge issue for that sort of product. Here's the sneaky one, though. Here's a product that is obnoxious. Boxed stuffing.
Oh.
Now, one, it's awful and no one should ever eat it because it's boxed stuffing. It's
Satan's doing.
It's pre-staled and seasoned bread that you're going to make soggy and bake again. Why in the blue blazes would you ever do that? Brings me to my second point, that even though it's awful, it is in high demand. Here's the bad part, though. Case of boxed stuffing has a shelf life of approximately 10 months.
Ugh.
So if you accidentally ended up with extra box stuffing,
throw it away.
Better miracle up a way to get rid of it, because it ain't going to keep till next season.
Oh, man.
So
stuffing itself isn't a great idea.
No, it makes it harder to cook your bird.
But let me.
So all you food pantries out there, that explains why you end up with a giant swath of stuffing 2 months before Thanksgiving.
The only reason why people buy box stuffing is because their mom or their dad, someone in their youth, used box stuffing, and then the parent passed away, or the parent wants tradition, and the kid's like, "Oh, I got to organize this. What did Dad do? Oh, Dad got Stovers."
Yeah. Well, here's an anecdote that reminds me of that. I heard this story from someone who claimed it was a true story or so on and so forth. But it's probably apocryphal and came out of Better Homes and Gardens or some.
Is this an apocryphal stuffing story?
No, but it's an apocryphal cooking story that is exactly what you're talking about. So this guy gets married, blah, blah, blah. Point is, he's watching his wife cook a roast one day, right? Uh-huh. And she takes the roast and she cuts the ends off of it and puts it in the pan and puts it in the oven. Well, and he thinks, well, that's kind of odd. I wonder why she does that. And so he asks her, why do you cut the ends off the roast before you cook it? She says, well, my mother always did. That's how I learned to do it. You cut the ends off the roast. And he says, well, why? Then you just have these two little slices of roast that you've got to do something with. And yeah, that's weird. So she goes and asks her mother, Mom, how come you always took that when you make the roast, you cut the ends off before you put it in the pan and cook it? And she says, well, that's the way your grandmother always did it, so that's what I always do. And so they went and they talked about it for a while and realized that it just kind of doesn't make a whole awful lot of sense, but it's the way we learned to do it. It was fun that they go to their grandmother and ask, why is it that when you cook a roast, you cut the ends off the roast before you put it in the pan and put it in the oven? She said, it was the only way to make it fit in the pan I had. Yeah.
That's good.
And it's a distinct possibility that it's true. Because people pick up habits from their ancestors that make no bloody sense in current context. It was just the way you had to do something to make it work way back when.
Right.
And it's the same thing. The only reason we're cooking and eating box stuffing anymore is because everyone so-and-so did it. And it's just this sheer habit.
So every now and then, I make ugly food.
Oh, food after my own heart. I suppose we should probably explain this for our listener.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Ugly food has gone by a plethora of names. I simply refer to it as food now. This is when you're making food. And what it is 1 pound, give or take, of ground beef, seasoned to your liking and fried in a pan as, scrambled ground beef, just, like you do. I use 1.5 cups of dry rice, which produces approximately 3 cups of cooked rice. You cook rice, you cook ground beef, you combine the two with some black pepper and a can of mushroom soup, and season as you see fit. That's the basics of ugly food. It's not beautiful, but it tastes nice, and it has, calories and protein and starches, and, it's almost good for you.
And if you're like a poor college student, everyone can bring their canned vegetable that they have.
Yeah, and you end up with something resembling nutrition.
Right, you enhance the ugly food.
Yeah, but it's not much to look at because it's, gray casserole.
Right. So now I will make ugly food, but I will not make like what we did as ugly food. I'm going to take the base concepts and I'm going to make something better. Yeah. I don't need to, and I feel like, and I do this with all my cooking, like when I make my mother's lasagna, my mom made awesome lasagna. I make a better lasagna because I understand what made my mom's lasagna great, and it was that my mother made it for me.
Yeah, moms are good like that.
Right. And so I understand that the real ingredient there is make sure that I put a lasagna in a casserole. And beyond that, I can go, you know what? I can saute my vegetables first.
Yeah. I'm doing much the same with my ugly food. I'm, doing sauteed mushrooms with it now and enhancing it in various ways.
Making it sometimes even pretty.
Not even, but getting there. In my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is a super ghetto risotto.
Okay.
I know it's
ghetto
not
risotto,
but that's
man.
It's not, but it is kinda. It's like all the shortcuts someone that doesn't know what they're doing would take to make a creamy risotto.
So, if I ever have any type of cover band, we're gonna be called Ghetto Risotto.
That's brilliant.
I know. So, what kind of food plans do you have for this weekend? Well, getting back around to the 4th of July.
Unfortunately, as I have to work on the actual 4th of July, I'm probably looking at, some grocery store deli chicken strips.
Jake.
Hey, I lead an exciting and voluminous life. That word doesn't apply here.
Are y'all closing early?
No.
Are you going to be stuck in the grocery store when the fireworks are going off?
Well, fortunately, we do close before dark on Sundays, so that's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And our town suffers some kind of mental handicap, so we do fireworks on the wrong day sometimes. I don't really know what's going on anymore. So.
Well, if the store closes before sundown, then chances are you could get somewhere where someone is grilling a hot dog that you sold them earlier in the day.
That's a good possibility. And I could go see Alpine's imaginatively underwhelming fireworks display.
They just want you to know that they're trying.
Actually, more like they want you to know that they are not trying.
They're not trying.
It's like, we put the bare minimum effort into giving you a fireworks display.
Do the volunteer firefighters still do it?
And I think they still buy their mortars from the local fireworks stand. I've been deeply, deeply interested in the idea of eventually saving up enough money to purchase and obtain and find clearance for, and then put on a superior fireworks show to the cities immediately afterwards. Find a rancher at the edge of town that'll let me do it on their land, and then, get someone in with the actual fireworks license and the real big fireworks, and as soon as the city show stops, just light up and start going, and then run like an hour-long show better than the cities.
So,
because it's something someone with, not a huge amount of money could accomplish.
It's true. So, how about this? Is Mountainside still standing?
Yeah.
So,
I think they're still using it.
Okay. I thought they had stopped using it.
And then they've had to stop and reopen more than once because student volume.
And wasn't there asbestos problems?
They cleaned that out back when we were in school.
Anyway.
Don't you remember well, yeah, you wouldn't. You weren't in in Mountainside at the time.
So what you could do is sneak into Mountainside, get up onto the roof. It's not hard. And then set up your fireworks show on top of Mountainside. And then when theirs ends, you hit the trigger. and then you just leave.
They just leave. Like, oh God. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I don't need to spend an afternoon or a couple days in jail.
That's right. And by the time that you set a timer, it's like start in 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, you're back down where everyone else is,
watching this amazing fireworks show.
Right. And then boom, yours starts going off.
Yeah. The real problem with this is that kind of activity nowadays is probably get you on some kind of terrorist watch list, and I really just don't feel like that's a good future for me.
Only if they catch you.
Only if they catch you, but it's much harder to not get caught anymore with all the cameras and fingerprint technology.
Well, wear gloves.
Yeah. You know how it is. You watch CSI, they'll find a follicle or something, and
we're talking
it
about
was him.
Alpine, Texas here. You're down at the fireworks show. They're going to think a student did it.
Yeah, but now we have this, audio log of our intent, so probably not the best plan.
Nah. Wah, wah. Oh, man. Krista and I are going, speaking of fireworks, we're going to Vancouver, British Columbia at the end of July.
Ooh.
And one of the things going on is an international fireworks competition.
Jealous.
Which evidently is a thing. And this is like the championship round. It's like 3 competitors. It's like Canada, someplace in Europe. I think it's Germany and America.
Yeah.
And the company that's representing America is Walt Disney.
Wow.
Because,
they do fireworks every day. They're probably the only ones.
Well, they're probably like one of the best. Like, their team is probably really refined.
I'm sure they are. Like I said, they do it every day. They'd have to be good at it by now.
Right. And so we're looking forward to that because fireworks set to music across the radio.
Yeah. Here's another thing I'm looking forward to about the 4th of July, though.
What?
Making fun of all the cities that accidentally set off all their fireworks in one glorious fiasco.
Oh, man.
Like, what was it? Was it San Francisco last year?
I know it was San Diego 2 years ago.
It's just like one giant glowing ball that lasted for 27 seconds, then it was over.
People were like, what?
The more important question is, why is there a button that did that?
It probably wasn't a button that did that. It was probably like a short in the board.
Something, but talk about expensive, embarrassing screw-ups.
I mean, it could have been worse.
Yeah, that reminds me, back when I was a kid where I lived in Montana, near Billings, if on a semi-regular basis for several years, the fireworks shows would get rained out, because, they have to go set up all that stuff. And then if it comes in and pours down rain, it fills up the mortar tubes and ruins everything, right?
Right.
You can't cover it in time, and there you go. So a few years running, there's a gigantic arena in Billings called the Metra. And they did fireworks shows indoors in the Metra. I never went and saw one, but I can't imagine that being pleasant.
Indoors?
It is a indoors covered arena. They play arena football in it to give you an idea of how big the actual thing is. It's not the size of a football stadium, but they do fireworks displays indoors in there on the bad years.
Yeah.
It must be truly apocalyptic experience to be in there with those things kabooming and the smoke, because the roof doesn't open. It's a closed building. I can only imagine what it would have been like. Every time, we're moving the show to the Metro. Everyone come to the Metro to watch the fireworks show. And we're like, no, I'm not doing that. We're going home.
Everyone ends up with lung cancer.
Yeah, and severe hearing damage.
So things that I don't want to do inside of a closed arena.
Fireworks.
That's like number 2. No, number 1, monster truck rally.
Yeah, that seems unpleasant also.
Number 2, but not by far, indoor fireworks show. Seems like
I think
a bad
that those
idea.
could be 2 and 3, and number 1 is combination monster truck and fireworks show.
Oh man, and you know it's been done.
Yeah, because those two things go together like cheese on hamburgers.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, that's the thing that belongs outdoors. Fireworks. Much like barbecuing, you should do that outside so you don't die by accident.
It's like, well, you see, officer, I was grilling a cheeseburger on my grill.
In the back of my monster truck in the garage.
In the back of my monster truck in the garage.
When it set off all my fireworks.
And one of my mortars fell onto the grill, and well, that's what happened to the neighborhood.
Yeah. It was very loud, extremely close. Why I have no eyebrows.
Why I have no eyebrows. The story of an American firework spectacle.
Yeah. All joking aside, though, be safe, everyone. Fireworks are awesome. Try to keep your fingers and all your other body parts attached.
Unless, you're into that.
In which case, please do not send us pictures.
Yeah, don't do that.
There are other enthusiasts on the internet for that.
Yep. There's a lid for every pot.
Yeah. Try and keep the filter in place, boys. Don't think about it.
So, Aaron Wren has been talking with me, and we've been discussing music like we do, as we're talking about the 4th of July weekend and what we're going to listen to, because that's one of our topics of discussion. And he introduced me to a new band that I hadn't heard. Yeah, it's called Alan Doyle, or the guy's name is Alan Doyle.
Huh.
And he has a band. And his album is So Let's Go. It's really good. It's like surprisingly good. It's like, oh man, I don't know. The album cover seems kind of chintzy, and what kind of jerk uses his name when he's not a headliner?
A lot of people have been doing that lately, though.
Yeah.
A bunch of people that I enjoy have been doing that, really.
Like?
You know what? The second you asked, my brain locked up and I forgot.
Man, you are the OG hipster. They were cool before I knew their name, man.
Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats. That's a band that I've come to enjoy lately.
Okay.
You've probably heard some of their music. They got super popular for a little while for a song called S.O.B.
And what does S.O.B. do?
Son of a bitch. Give me a drink.
I know, but what's the song about?
It's about quitting drinking or needing a drink and so on and so forth. It's an old-timey sounding song and I really enjoy the heck out of it.
So, do you listen to Mumford and Sons?
I have been known to enjoy an occasional Mumford and Sons song.
Okay. So you like that kind of new bluegrass sound.
Yeah. I've been enjoying that. Also Edward Sharpe and the Magnetic Zeros.
The Magnetic Zeros?
Yeah. They do that Home Is Wherever I'm With You song. And a bunch of other pretty good stuff.
Okay.
I'm detecting a pattern here in these groups. It's someone's name and a weird band name.
I've been listening to not that much new music lately. I've been listening to like songs from the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
Like Cat Empire.
See,
for instance,
you and I have a wildly differing tastes in music, or wildly different backgrounds in music, so it's really amusing. The other day, we were at Dairy Queen with the church group, like you do, and after Wednesday services, and they were playing Oldie Station and that one song. Great. It was there, and then it wasn't. Johnny Horton, Battle of 1814, came on the oldie station, and half the and most of the group, including myself, who know this song by heart, sang the whole thing all the way through.
Down the Guadalupe to the mighty Mississippi.
Yeah, that's not it, but close. And the point is pretty much everybody else in the restaurant was giving us the "whoa, what a bunch of weirdos" look, and I'm the weirdo that remembers this song from the 50s.
Well, that's what doesn't always reflect your age.
Yeah, it really doesn't, especially in my case. My tastes in music are from the wrong century.
Well, you remember, way back in the day when we played World of Warcraft.
Oh, back in the day.
And before we joined a TeamSpeak server with the guild that we had joined, the illustrious...
In days long past, illustrious.
In days long past, the illustrious guild known as I'm Hungry When Is Lunch.
Yep, that's us, the Lunchbox.
The Lunchbox crew. Before I got on to the TeamSpeak, everyone thought I was in my 50s.
Because of your weird taste in music.
Well, because I just got a lot of references from that time period.
See, to put my oddity in perspective, it really irritates me that there's not a Roaring Twenties channel on XM Radio to torture my workers with.
The Roaring Twenties?
I would play that. It would drive people nuts, but I would enjoy the living dickens out of it.
Well, why isn't there?
I don't know. Probably not a whole lot of demand for it. I mean, the people that would remember the Roaring Twenties, to be perfectly honest, probably can't operate an XM radio.
Oh, man. I think we both have a similar, somewhat of some country music.
Yeah. I've stopped appreciating country music in the 011s or something there. But the newer stuff I'm getting to be less and less fond of, but everything pre-2008 I think is mostly okay. I mean, there's hits and misses in both all the way through, but there's a few that I really, really hate for multiple time periods.
So why is that? Because every now and then I get into a mode and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to George Jones, George Strait, and some CDB and some Willie Nelson, and gonna throw in some Waylon in there just for good measure.
Yeah, those are all good.
About Merle Haggard.
The problem is when they're playing those, they have this nasty tendency to throw in some Kenny Rogers. It just kind of ruins your day.
No wind hold 'em.
Don't even start with me.
No wind fold 'em.
That's his only good song.
Wait, that song's good?
Listen, out of all of his songs, that's the best one. We'll put it like that.
No wind to walk away. No wind to run.
Yeah, you're going to stop now or we're going to end this podcast early.
Well, it wouldn't be that early. I mean,
watch,
I think we've been going
our only listener's going to be like this hardcore Kenny Rogers fan.
Like, I quit.
I can't take this anymore. They're so wrong.
They're so wrong. How dare they defile the great name of Kenny Rogers, the bearded plastic surgeon one.
The K-Rog.
The K-Rog. His real friends call him Ken.
Yeah. It's just, I don't... Yeah, there's lots of good country music, and there's a lot of stuff that's just weird.
Well, I think
so much of it's so hip-hoppy now for some strange reason, and I don't
really get that.
It's not my cup of tea. I'm here for the country music, not for whatever that is.
What was that song that Alan Jackson and George Strait did? That got them in all kinds of deep doo-doo. It's like...
It seems to be a hobby of country music singers right now, just to do something racially insensitive with music.
No, it wasn't racially insensitive. They basically were... They were basically... It was something about the Grand Opry cry. It was basically a political statement on their part, saying country music's dead because it's hip-hop.
They're not completely wrong.
No, they're not. This was years ago, though, and they got lambasted by the country music industry. Like George Strait was supposed to win an award, and they took it away. And
the problem is what is commonly referred to these days as bro country. Like, there's about every 1 out of every 20 of those songs is tolerable, but so much of it's just kind of beer.
Cake Scooter. So, as we lead into this weekend, for myself, it'll be a glorious 4-day weekend of debauchery. For yourself, it'll be a 9-day work week of
debauchery.
Debauchery and work. How jaded are you?
How jaded am I? I'm like a 9 because I have to work through my favorite holiday. Second favorite holiday. The point is I have to work through a holiday.
What's number 1?
Huh? My first favorite holiday?
Yeah.
It's a 3-way tie between Christmas and Thanksgiving. And 2 of my birthdays.
It's a 3-way tie between Christmas, Thanksgiving, and 2 of my birthdays.
Yeah.
Nothing about that works out.
I know. And that's why I like it.
I'm a 2 because I get a
4-day weekend filled with debauchery.
4-day work week, 4-day weekend, then a 4-day work week.
Something wrong about that. Next thing you know, you're going to be keeping banker's hours.
Well, I tried to do that already.
Well, banker's hours.
What's your quote?
What's my quote? Well, my quote has to do with music because it was on my mind today. And now this quote, after a bit of research because I was trying to be careful today, is regularly misattributed to Shakespeare. That's wrong. But it's also regularly misattributed to someone else named George Santayana. Pardon my butchery. Santayana, maybe? Which is not Santana. But it really belongs to Reginald Holmes. And it is actually a little poem, as it turns out. But it goes, "The earth has its music for those who will listen. Its bright variations forever abound. With all the wonders that God has bequeathed us, there's nothing that thrills like the magic of sound."
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I really like it. It's not Shakespeare.
My quote comes from the great one, Bob Marley.
Okay.
One good thing about music. When it hits you, you feel no pain. Now, one can wonder if Bob Marley was actually talking about music there or the big fatty J that he was smoking.
Could be both.
Could be both.
Yeah, but music's a powerful thing. There's a really cool video around the internet somewhere where they went into a nursing home to old people that are just, those people that are pretty well catatonic, just sitting there not doing anything, often inside their own little world anymore. And they found out when they were born and from people or like their family members what kind of music and stuff they liked, and they brought in like an iPod and headphones and put on the headphones on them and played music of the genre and era that they would have liked. And these people just light up like Christmas trees and start tapping and dancing along as best they can. It just, it brings people back to where they were, and, it's really good for you.
I agree.
It's a really beautiful video, though, because it shows the power of, people that seem like they're not even there anymore. They're really there. They just need things that people aren't giving them sometimes.
Speaking of things that are needed that people aren't giving us, if you like our podcast, leave a review at iTunes or on YouTube or on Stitcher. Just search for
you can follow us on Twitter for some reason.
Yeah, Proteus Podcast.
We are everywhere.
Or at least we're trying to be.
Yeah, we're trying to fill that void that you didn't know you had in your life.
So thank you to our one of listeners out there. And let's get more.
If you actually enjoy what you hear today, please tell someone you know that you enjoy what you heard today so that they might enjoy it as well.
I mean, we're going to keep on doing it regardless.
Yeah. And we don't get anything for this other than the pride and satisfaction of a job well done, assuming we're doing a job well done. So, we've had a lovely evening. I've been Jacob.
And I'm still Danielle.
And we are the Proteus Podcast. Good night, everyone.